Hi there. So the deadlines for ISB's Young Leaders Program is coming up on October 15th. Now, for those of you who are unaware of what the YLP is, it is the deferred MBA option offered by one of India's premier B schools, that's the Indian School of Business. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about the stage 1 essay, right? The YLP admission process typically has 3 stages for every applicant. And so the first stage has an essay that the candidates are expected to write. And this video is going to give you some idea about how to plan for the essay and how to make sure that it creates an impact on the admission committee. My name is Anand Venkatesan. I'm a founder of mentorscapital.com. We are a platform that connects students with mentors across the globe, spanning different industries and experiences. And we hope that by these meaningful exchanges, that you find and create impact in your application journey and find success in your career dreams and aspirations. So let's get started with today's agenda. That's tackling the stage 1 essay. That's part of the YLP stage 1 admission process. Now, some facts about YLP. Why is it that there's such a hullabaloo around this program, and is it really worth it or not? And I'm going to throw some facts at you. First and foremost is the fact that the Young Leaders Program is one of the best options in India to consider for a deferred MBA admission. Right? Now, Ivy League schools across the world, and especially in the United States of America, offer deferred admission options to their students, which basically means that you can apply to these universities while in your college, while in the final year or pre-final year of your college, and if admitted, then you join the regular batch, the MBA batch, but only do so after a period of 2 to 5 years of employment, right? So it gives you the chance to defer your program, defer your education in management. And while there are many universities abroad that offer deferred MBA, in India, the only one worth applying to, and probably the one that's the most coveted of all, is the Young Leaders Program. Now, the Young Leaders Program is very unique in that it allows students in their pre-final year or final year of college to apply, which means that if you're studying a 3-year program, you can apply in your second year or even in your third year. And this point can be particularly important for a student in college, because if you've just entered the second year of college and you think that it's too early for me, well, think again, because the YLP admission process gives you 2 chances, right? Which means that you can take a shot in your second year, and even if you feel that you're not ready and your profile is not impactful enough, I think the experience will definitely enrich you for the subsequent year. That's one. And 2, just keep in mind that as we speak, the deadline comes ever and ever closer. It's 15th of October for this year. And this is a different sort of format from the usual, process and timelines that ISB follows, the YLP program follows. So it's early. Make sure that you're prepared for it. And this video is going to help you with one of the most important aspects of the YLP admission process, which is the application essays. So, but before I get into the essay itself, I think it's important to understand exactly what does ISB look for in a candidate, especially a candidate unlike their mainstream profile, which is about 2 to 3 years of work experience. If a fresher in college or somebody who's still pursuing the program in college, he or she is applying to a program, the YLP program, then exactly what is expected of him, right? So there are 4 broad sort of categories that that they look at in a candidate. Number 1, they want somebody who's extremely versatile, somebody who's exploring various facets of their personality and skill level. And so extracurriculars play a very important role here. It could be about sport, it could be about quizzing, it could be participating in competitions and tournaments, whether it within college or even between colleges, and especially so if it's at a stage which is at a national or international level. So extracurriculars do give the application committee a very good sense of how initiative driven are you, how enthusiastic are you, how much are you driven by your passions and the need to explore your personality. Number two, goes without saying, most premier B schools look at academic orientation. They consider it very, very important that the candidates come with consistency in academics right from school days, right? And this actually translates into an 8 plus CGPA in college. And don't worry if you're not in that bracket yet, but keeping this in mind is important because you must make sure that by the time you apply for the YLP in the final year, that your grades are at least 7.5 plus, and ideally above 8 if you possibly can. Number three, one of the most important things for any B school admission is our leadership potential and goal orientation. And I probably put them side by side because I think one of the things any B school looks at is, are you clear about why you want to do an MBA, right? And if asked, I think most of us will, without blinking an eye, say that, well, I'm doing an MBA because I want to make more money. And while that is indeed a very honest answer, it's not one that the B school is looking at. It clearly is one of the reasons, and they probably do understand it, but it's the manner in which in which you're pursuing that goal, that objective of making money and being successful. It's the path you choose for yourself is what they are interested in, and that's best sort of illustrated by a quick glance at your CV. Have you done any programs, any online courses? Does your undergraduate program give you the skills that you need? If somebody says that they want to pursue a management career in investment banking, then the clear sort of personality and skill set you need is to be good with numbers, good with quant, the ability to research, large tracts of data, analyze them and come up with insights. And at the other end is also the ability to manage people, the ability to, convince clients and create a portfolio that wins them a lot of money, right? So a lot of sort of personality traits go into it, but I think the B school is going to look at, have you pursued internships that give you a sense of where you stand on these parameters? Have you taken courses that tell us that you're good at quant, that you're good at finance, that you understand the world of investments? Do you trade? Do you invest in the stock market? Have you done so for a consistent period of time, and has that borne any fruit? And so these are the kind of questions that you should be asking yourself if you want to create a strong application for a B school, right? So goal orientation and the ability to consistently work towards a very, very strong professed goal that you have that leads you to success, the way you perceive it, is important. And while goals are important, none of those goals in the long term are met unless you show leadership potential. Because irrespective of which domain or function within management you choose, whether it's finance, marketing, HR, systems, or even technology, it doesn't really matter. All they are interested in is that you need to show the ability to plan in advance, to break down tasks amongst the various team members that work with you, and follow up at a regular on a regular basis to ensure that the task is completed. And these kind of leadership instances are also available in college, when it comes to clubs, when it comes to societies, and even at other positions which are of a volunteer nature, volunteering nature, or even community involvement, right? So try and show some level of leadership potential, the ability to take the initiative, seize the initiative, and create an impact. And so those are the primary things. And I think if you ponder this hard enough, I think it's obvious that while it looks at a diversity of things within your personality and your career progression thus far, I think one thing that does stand out is the ability in you to create an impact, whether it's in your extracurriculars, or whether it's in positions of leadership that you held in college or school, or whether it was internships that you did where significant impact was created by the initiative you took, or by the process that you followed, or just by the conceptual understanding that you bring to the table. So impact is everything. Now, with that in mind, what's the stage one essay that YLP asks candidates to answer? This is a 300-word essay, and the question that they pose is to describe a personal incident or achievement that changed you as a person. And they further ask, how did it change your perspective about yourself and about others? Now, there are key aspects of the problem statement that you should focus on. Remember, it's talking about a personal incident or achievement, and most of us can probably go back and find instances in school or college where we achieved things. But that doesn't mean that any instance from your life will be suited to an essay that you write to a B school, even though it doesn't talk about your career goals. Remember that that should be somewhere at the back of your mind, right? So if you're planning the YLP stage one essay, here are three important pointers that you should keep in mind. Number one, make sure that the instance or example that you choose is one that displays your leadership potential, because it is all there in the title of the program. It's called the Young Leaders Program, and so the one aspect that they definitely search for within candidates is the ability to be a leader. So whatever instance you choose, whether it's from school, whether it's from your family life, whether it was adversity that you faced, or whether it was just an internship that you did, make sure that you bring out your potential for leadership and how you wrested the initiative or worked with your teammates and created an impact. And obviously, when we talk about leadership, there are plenty of personality traits that go into it. This includes the ability to plan, have foresight, the ability to set a clear roadmap to achieve that goal, the ability obviously to be determined and forthright in the face of adversity, and last but not the least, the ability to work well with your teammates, motivate them, fill them with confidence, and make sure that all the team objectives are met. But all of this means is that every candidate cannot have every trait that I just talked about, right? It's quite possible that you possess one instance that displays one of these traits in greater measure. So the idea is to identify your unique selling points. What is it that you bring that is unique to the table, that highlights your potential for leadership, and how did that come out in the instance that you just quote in your essay? And one other thing that is important to be kept in mind is the need to create a significant impact. Well, in whatever you do, whether it was organizing a fest in college or working for a 2-month internship with a corporate firm or even a startup, or whether it was community work where you tried to make the life better of a particular section of society, make sure that you quantify the impact, right? And this impact must be measured against your efforts, right? So make sure that you identify what is it that helped you create that kind of impact, and that's your unique selling point, that those are your personality traits that gave you success. And also, how do you measure that success, right? And is it something which is of a personal achievement for you, or is it something that creates an impact amongst the stakeholders involved in the process, whether it be the team members that you have, or the sponsorship money that you raised, or the number of participants in the event that you conducted. Make sure that you quantify the impact that you create. Number two, make sure that whatever example or instance you choose, make sure to link it back to your goal, right? Make sure that it somehow acts as a bridge between where you are and where you want to be, right? And these experiences, in many cases, can actually take you closer to becoming a good manager, right? For example, if you've managed a fest and you were in charge of sponsorships and you had teams that comprised of 4 to 5 members who were your foot soldiers in this case, then make sure that you profess why working with a team setup like this, why raising funds or scholarship, or even consider another example where you're trading in the market, right? And how is it that your the trades that you executed and the kind of outcomes that you generated, why is that important to the pursuit of your goals? What does it tell you about the specific skills that you possess that could be useful in the long term towards the pursuit of your goal? That's number one. And number two, it will also probably tell you what you lack, right? Many a time when we work, when we have instances of leadership, or organizing fests, or even pursuing an internship, we find that it gives us a very realistic sense of Well, the person I report to, my manager, seems to be much smarter than me, seems to be much more knowledgeable than me, and has the ability to analyze data, that things that are much beyond my comprehension. And if there are specific things that you can identify, right, areas which you felt comfortable even though you don't have prior management education, and contrast that to areas which you feel that only management education can sort of fill the gap in, right? So make sure that in linking it to your goals, you also identify, you know, aspects of your personality that bode well for the future, and also weaknesses or gaps that you would like to fill in the next 2 years of, you know, employment before the YLP, before the PGP program begins, and also in the medium term, you know, after the MBA, the first job that you probably take up, you know, how will those experiences, you believe, add to, you know, your personality and help you achieve your goals, right? So keep that in mind when you structure your essay. And lastly, I think it's most important, and the essay actually makes a good point of it. It's most important to highlight what you learned from this instance, right? And these learnings could be both personal and professional, or it could also be, you know, working with other stakeholders, you know, whether it was the immediate person you were reporting to, or it could be, you know, other members of your team who are at the same level as you are, right? But make sure that you identify and delineate learnings that are very, very specific and personal to you. These could be, you know, strengths that you observed when you dealt with people, when you worked in a particular, you know, engagement. What worked as your strength helped you achieve things, and what you felt were areas of concern, areas that could do with some improvement. Was it about meeting deadlines? Was it about, you know, the ability to motivate people? Was it the need to sort of stay calm when pressure situations erupted? And so you identify those things, and what, you know, what was it about yourself that you learned, right? And at the same time, in contrast to your personal learnings, you must also clearly identify professional abilities, right? And this is something that I talked about in point number 2. Even though you're working towards your goal, you must constantly evaluate, you know, your skill level, right? It's like saying that if you were, you know, looking to play the World Cup in football, then you need to sort of identify what traits you need as a footballer, in order to get into one of the top teams across the world, you know, in even the national team of our country. And you need to, at every instance, keep evaluating: am I moving closer to the goal? Have I bridged the gap or not? Right? And so these are aspects that I would recommend you keep in mind when you write the stage 1 essay for the YLP. I certainly hope that these pointers were useful for you. If you have any questions, click on the link in the description below, and set up a, you know, mentorship call with me, and I'd be glad to give you personalized tips and suggestions. But for now, I think I'm also going to address the question of, well, why is it important to apply for the YLP at this early stage? Well, I think the one word answer is you need all you can, you know, in order to further your chances at, you know, literally Ivy League education. And I think this is also borne out by the very unique sort of timeline that the Young Leadership Program has. Stage 1, as we already know, you know, is coming up on, you know, the deadline is coming up on the 15th of October. The next thing that you do in the next few months is prepare for GMAT, because when stage 2 results come out, they do give you some time, but you know, but it turns out that when the stage 2 results come out, you probably will have a lot of things on your plate. So treat the months of October, November, December, January, February. You know, these 5 months are critical to, you know, make a dent in your GMAT preparation, right? You might not write it in this period, but definitely most of your prep, most of the hard work that you put in needs to be in this duration. Semester exams, I expect, would probably be in around the months of April and May, and this should be, you know, followed by an internship, a 2 month or an 8 week, 6 to 8 week internship in a company in a sector of your choice, because you know, by the time the stage 2 application comes up, you have the opportunity, you know, as you can see, of both improving your academic score, improving, what you've done, a good GMAT score to sort of offset any, any academic drawbacks that you might have. And finally, the internship will also give you a better context to how you will do in a professional environment, and can you leverage the internship experience to build the potential for your leadership. And by if you do all of that, stage two deadlines are going to be 31st of August. The results will probably be out around the month of March or so, which basically means that while you might have 3 to 4 months, I think it's better off that you plan the GMAT early, and leave those few months for your internship and to work on your applications. Right? It's a very, very good reason why you should consider applying in the next couple of weeks for the YLP program. Do take a look at our company profile, mentorscapital.com. I did say we are a platform that assists students through mentored support, and we have a fabulous conversion in the YLP program. In the YLP admissions, almost 80% of our students in the past have managed to crack the YLP. So I think I'd like to believe that we understand the YLP admission process quite well. Mentorship is our forte. We believe that it can create positive impact across different spheres of your life, whether it's preparing for exams, whether it's making important life choices, or even choosing a country or university to go study in. Right? And how does it all work on our website? Well, you just visit www.mentorscapital.com, and once you go to domestic or international mentors, there'll be a long list of mentors across diverse profiles that you can explore, that you can study deeper, and see which profile, which kind of a mentor would you like to connect with, and do you resonate with the most. And lo and behold, all you need to do is make an online payment and set up a one-on-one call with a mentor of your choice. Alternatively, you can also contact us, and after a quick conversation about your goals, aspirations, and doubts that you might have, we can also hook you up with somebody who's experienced and can offer you the specific advice that you seek. Our services go beyond just mentorship. We help with test preparation, whether it's the GRE, GMAT, or even the CAT. We have both online batches as well as in-person classes to help you in the pursuit of a dream GMAT, GRE score. We also help with application support services, which means whether it comes to shortlisting good colleges or crafting application essays, we offer comprehensive, support in your admission journey. And this touches all the way till video assessments that you might face, or even personal interviews that could come up either in person or online. And I can say with confidence, having done this for almost a decade, our processes work, and our processes are built at making you introspect, which means that you're going to come out a wiser person through all of this. So do consider us. I thank you for the lovely time, for listening in on this conversation. And if you have any further questions, you can write in. My email address is throwing up on your screen. You can also send me a WhatsApp message, or better still, just click on the link in the description and attend a free trial class or get a free counseling session with one of our experienced mentors. Thank you. Have a good day and wish you all the very best.